Welcome to No Broken Legs. I am your host, Evan Belfiore. Joining me on the phone on Jimmy, fall is here, man. It's Jimmy Champ on a Friday night.
Yeah, it was a little bit cold, just like all my parlays went with the way that Broncos game ended last week.
That was one of the most ridiculous things I think I've ever seen in a football game.
My gosh, man.
How do you score two touchdowns and give up 33 points? That's Brownsian, man. Speaking of the Browns, they're traveling to New England this weekend, Jimmy. They're going to take on the Patriots. They're 7-point underdogs. 40.5 is the over-under, so Vegas is still not buying this offense. They do get a win against Miami. The defense looked really good. Miami looked really bad. What are your takeaways from what we saw Sunday?
I mean, I think it's just that. I think the Browns, a lot of other people have pegged it this way as well. I think the Browns are probably the best of the worst teams in the league. I think there are like 6 bad teams in the NFL, and I think the Browns is the best of those 6 teams. And fortunately, they play most of those teams, but unfortunately, I do think a couple of those teams have better coaches than the Browns, so I think they might take some losses to those bad teams. But I think the Browns' defensive unit is, a top 10 defense in the NFL, which isn't normally what a bottom 6 team has, but the offense is just that poor. But so I wasn't surprised. I was a little surprised at how well they whooped up on Miami. Like, it surprised me a little bit, but it looked like Miami just couldn't get anything going. But kudos to the Browns. We were trying to tell everybody what the first 6 games were going to look like. Nobody should have been surprised by it. We knew this was a spot where we had the Dolphins, then the Patriots, and some more winnable games. We knew this was a spot where the season could turn and be a little better, and they handled business. So kudos to them. They did exactly what they needed to do, ran the ball a ton, Junkins looked good, Gabriel did just enough, defense looked elite.
That Miami team is a disaster.
Yes.
Tua Tagovailoa. Remember when everybody was trying to tell us that Tua Tagovailoa was better than Baker Mayfield, and we were like, do you guys watch football? Do you know anything about football? So I want to take a victory lap there. Tua looks awful.
Yes.
He threw two of his interceptions were as bad as any interceptions I've seen this year.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
I know everybody's patting the defense on the back and talking about winnable games coming up, but it's they do this every year. We've been here before where they look bad and then they blow out some team that's in even worse shape than they are.
Yep.
And I really don't like this spot for the Browns being on the road.
No.
New England's playing good. Vrabel, forget all the Vrabel was inside the building stuff. Vrabel's just a better coach than Stefanski is.
100%.
And the one thing that I look at when I look at this game is Vrabel's ability to find a weakness and exploit it, combined with the Browns' defense being gullible when it comes to counter plays.
Yeah.
Just like I said last week, the Browns were going to blow out Miami. I said, don't worry about the points. They're going to win by a touchdown. They ended up winning by more than that, but I like New England with the points here. I think New England's going to win this game by at least 2 touchdowns. I think they know how to attack this Browns defense in a way that negates everything they want to do. They're going to hold up in the run, and they're going to force Dylan Gabriel to do something, and he doesn't seem like he can throw passes more than 10 yards downfield. So I like the Patriots here. I actually like the over, too.
I don't know about the over. These are 2 pretty good. Well, but we know the Browns defense isn't as good on the road as well.
Oh, yeah, that's another good point. And that's something that goes back a couple of years. Even in 2023, when the defense really helped lead the charge, they were poor on the road.
Yeah, so you might be able to talk me into the over. Yeah, I agree with you. I am so curious. To see what the Browns' offensive game plan looks like, because the Patriots are actually better against the run than the Browns are against the run, but they're also middle of the pack against the pass like the Browns are. So the way to attack New England's defense is to throw the football, and I'm so curious what that's going to look like. If that is what Stefanski is going to do, or if he's going to say, we found something last week, we're just going to try to do what we can do best against what they do best and see which unit comes out on top. So I'm very curious to see what the Browns' offensive game plan looks like. But I agree with you. I mean, I said before the season started, I thought Vrabel and some of the additions to the roster and their schedule, the Patriots were going to be really good, and we seem to have had that one right on the nose. So yeah, I'm with you here. I like the Patriots to cover this, and I can handle the over. And I actually like the first half. The first half over under right now is like 20.5, so I kind of like the over there as well.
I think New England's going to jump on them early because I think we're going to see what we've seen when these teams have played in the past. New England's going to run around a lot of counter action. They're going to get the Browns going one way. They're going to take action the other way, and I think they're going to bust a couple big plays. So I like I don't know what the long touchdown is. It's usually around 35 yards. I actually like the over on that for long touchdown. Just about Dylan Gabriel, I see what the front office and Stefanski like about him, because he really does show how great he is on the whiteboard when he reads a defense and you see him turning his head, making his progressions. The problem is there's guys open on those progressions that he's not throwing the ball to, because I don't think he can either, A, he can't see him, or B, he doesn't trust the fact that he can get the ball there. Yeah. And he doesn't throw the ball farther than 10 physical yards from himself. Like, this isn't even about throwing 10 plus yards past the line of scrimmage. Like, a lot of his passes barely make it 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. That's a problem. Defenses come in on that. The start Shador murmurs have already started bubbling up, and they won a game. Like, Gabriel doesn't show improvement this week. Those murmurs are going to start to become headlines soon. And not only is it going to be headlines, Dylan Gabriel's going to be asked about it. And Kevin Stefanski's going to be asked about it. And then everybody on the team's going to be asked about it. And then when they hit their bye week, they're going to be asking the front office about it if Sanders hasn't played, because Kevin Berry comes out and speaks during the bye week. So I don't... We got to see something from Gabriel. Either you got to open it up, or he's got to sit his ass down because he's not throwing the ball downfield. Like, it's one or the other. Like, something's got to give.
Well, but so first off, I do agree. I think the Stefanski seat probably warms right back up if you get embarrassed by a coach that was in the building last year.
No, I still think they're giving everybody a pass, Jimmy.
You still think even Stefanski gets a pass on this season? Okay, I would say, though, that the conventional wisdom that the pairing of Stefanski and Berry is maybe not as strong as it has been. And I do agree with the assessment that if one of them goes, it's going to be Stefanski, not Berry. But you still feel like they're both probably making it through.
Yeah, I guess this is just every year there's an excuse to keep it. Well, in 2023 they went to the playoffs. We have to extend them and not let them just play out the last year of their contract. Which, if they would have just played out the last year of their contract last year, they just wouldn't have been re-signed. The Browns would have new coaches and a new GM and a whole new front office. So now they're going to look at it and go, well, we had these crappy quarterbacks that weren't good enough. Barry's coming off what was a strong draft. So you're going to have him for another year. And then it's just, well, we're going to let Kevin get his guy, his real guy, because, Dylan was his guy last year, but he'll have a new guy next year when they have a top 5 pick.
So here's the only thing. Like, I don't necessarily disagree with what you're saying, but here is my counter to the Shador Sanders should play thing. So, by statistics, by eye test, by everything, Shador Sanders was not an elite collegiate quarterback in any way, shape, or form. And in no way, shape, or form was Shador Sanders an elite college quarterback, talent, eye test, anything. He wasn't.
No.
The thing everyone told me was the reason he's not that is because of the poor offensive line play in front of him. Then he should not start for the Cleveland Browns.
Jimmy,
you're just going to get the same poor offensive line play.
Do you remember My Cousin Vinny, where Joe Pesci gives that really impassioned, or actually it wasn't even impassioned, it was just very detailed and by the book objection to the one witness, and he gets overruled? That's what the whole tidal wave of people wanting to ride the Shador Sanders train are objecting. Like, they're just objecting to everything you just said because they don't care. Yeah, as the season gets later, the calls for him to play are going to get louder, and this is one of the reasons why a bunch of other teams didn't want to draft him.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And I don't, I have no idea. I stand by my statement. Like, I don't think Dylan Gabriel was special last week. I don't think he was horrible. These are the games I'm judging him on, but I think Mike Vrabel is going to do some dirty work to him this week. He's going to look really bad. So I guess if you're going to make the quarterback change, it would be the time to do it. I just think it would be unfair to Gabriel. It would be unfair to Sanders. It would be unfair to everything, but it's all unfair. So I guess it won't.
Well, I mean, at some point you have to see something from somebody.
Yeah.
And it's been a couple of games now, and I haven't seen anything that makes me say, yeah. Like, I haven't even seen him make one throw that makes me say, yeah, that guy's a starter. I don't care about the progressions. He can apparently see and know where everybody's supposed to be, but if he can't get them the ball because he doesn't have the arm strength or his launch angle for throwing the ball to get it over the line of scrimmage, and all those big linemen, throws the ball way too high, and one of his receivers is going to get killed.
Right. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe do one of the 93 things other teams in the league do to give their quarterback better passing lanes. I don't know. It's an option.
Well, why would they look at what New Orleans did with Drew Brees? They didn't want Baker Mayfield because he was too small and couldn't make all the throws, and they were worried about his height being an issue with balls batted down, and now they're dealing with the exact same problems for a quarterback who's like 60% as talented.
Yeah.
It's just it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I just love the like people are doing it again because that the video of Garrett like hyping everybody up, and everybody was like, "Oh man, look at that! What a leader!" And it's just like, guys, that's like the low-hanging fruit. Like that's the stuff anybody can do. I don't expect for last week to be a turning point in the season or a turning point in Miles being a leader. Do you have any anticipation of that being the case?
No, I mean, they have some games coming up against bad offensive lines and bad quarterbacks, so his numbers will go up, but I imagine he'll be non-existent in this game against New England. Like, Myles Garrett...
That's the thing.
Myles Garrett can be schemed out of games. That's that. And we know when they play bad, when they lose, he takes zero accountability and points fingers at everybody else.
Yeah. It's just, the whole team's like that, though. There's no accountability. We talked about it last week. Myles can just do whatever. Nobody cares. Yep. Deshaun Watson, right after saying they really needed to challenge Baker to be his best, they bring in Deshaun Watson and they pay him a bunch of money, and they don't push him and they don't force him to be good in any way. They just coddle him, and it's like these huge 180s in how you're treating players. Like the players see that stuff, man. And Jerry Jeudy looks like he's totally checked out.
Yep.
I mean, I don't blame him, but I also this is why we said you shouldn't sign him to a $20 million a year contract. So here we are. I think they're getting blown out. You think they're getting blown out. So we'll see what happens in 2 weeks when they take on the Jets, who are just a bad football team. Then they get the Ravens. Then they get the Raiders. The Raiders, that should be a winnable game. The 49ers. Who knows what the Niners look like there, but Schwartz has always played really well against the Shanahan offenses. And then you get the Titans before you get the Bears, Bills, Steelers, Bengals. So I still only see 4 or 5 wins on that schedule. But this is at least the month where they might actually get 2 wins.
Yes, maybe.
We'll see. Well, let's take a look at the rest of the games that we have. Our first game sees the San Francisco 49ers, who we were just talking about, taking on the Houston Texans down in Houston. Texans 2.5-point favorites. Over-under is 42. I got to admit, I was a little surprised to see that Houston were favorites here, because that offense still looks like a complete mess.
The only thing I can think is they think, I don't know, maybe they're trying to goad you to get some public money on Houston, or they think Houston can win this game 3-0 with their defense against Mac Jones. But I know San Francisco still has injuries. I don't get it. Now, Seattle's defense is really good, but the fact that there were no changes made to the offensive coaching staff of the Texans after losing a game against probably a top 10 team in the league, in which you should have won, and probably won pretty easily, is insane to me. Like, the Texans defense is as good as I thought they were going to be. Like, I thought they were a top 3 defense, and they are. They're doing everything right, and the offense just can't get moving. Players dropping passes, offensive line penalties at the wrong time. C.J. Stroud refusing to just run when there's 5 yards in front of him and trying to make crazy passes. Getting frustrated with the hits he's taken. Like, the regression has been real, which stinks. When I think they have so much talent at the skill position spots, but the offensive line is still not good, and there's no moving pockets. There's no creating one-on-ones with really good players. Like, it's so weird. I really thought Nick Caley was going to come in and be a really good offensive coordinator for this team, and the offenses went backwards from how poor they were last year, which is crazy to me. I'm taking San Francisco here. I don't know. I mean, they're plus 120 on the money line, and it just feels like that's stealing. Like, I have a hard time believing Houston is going to win this game. I know San Francisco's injured, and I think Houston's defense will play great, but like, if San Francisco won this game 9-6, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, there's a little bit of juice. I agree with you. I think San Francisco's actually going to win this game. Little bit of juice on the plus 2.5 for San Francisco. That's at minus 114. And like you said, the money line, it's just barely plus. They'll let you bet the money line, but they're not giving you like your full 2.5 worth, I think, with that line.
Right. Yeah.
Up next, the New York Giants traveling to Philly to take on the Eagles. Eagles are 7-point home favorites. Over-under sits at 43.5. Jimmy, we saw this game 2 weeks ago. The Eagles really looked like they made the Giants kind of quit there. Do you expect a similar performance this week?
Yeah, I got to assume the Giants are. I mean, I know they've got some crazy individuals on their team right now, but there's got to be a letdown after losing a game like that to the Broncos. Yeah. And the Eagles seem to be figuring it out, whether it's how everyone expects them to figure it out or not. So, yeah, I'm on the Eagles here. I think the Eagles win this pretty easily.
Yeah, me too. And I think we're in real Saquon's not going to be Saquon this year territory. If he's going to do something dynamic, or if they're really going to try and feed him to get him a big game, it's going to be in this spot.
Would be this one.
So if he's going to struggle again, that's, I think, the final nail in the coffin of we have to expect Barkley to be less than this year based off of the amount of carries and touches he got last year.
Yeah.
Up next, the Baltimore Ravens are hosting the Chicago Bears. Lamar Jackson's going to be back for this game. It's actually now 7. 49.5 is the over-under. Jimmy, I look at this game, I see Lamar Jackson's back. Roquan Smith says he's playing. I think Baltimore comes out like a wrecking ball, and I looked at their schedule coming up. After this, they get Miami, Minnesota, Cleveland, and the Jets. They could legitimately be 6-6 with 2 against Pittsburgh, 2 against Cincy, a game against New England, and 1 against Green Bay deciding their fate. That looks like at least 10 wins to me.
Yeah, it's crazy because, like, with schedules, like, I have some playoff future parlays where right now it looks good for me except for Baltimore and Houston. I look at their schedules and I'm like, gosh, if one of you can get your defense figured out and the other one can get your offense figured out, I still have nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
Because you still have a ton of winnable games. I agree with you. I think Baltimore wins. I actually do like the Bears to cover. They're playing about the best football they've played with their new coaching staff. And in the Caleb Williams era, Caleb looks serviceable, looks better than I thought he was ever going to look. They found a couple pieces. They're playing hard. I don't think they're going to stop playing hard. I think it'll be a backdoor cover. I think Baltimore wins by like 3 or 4. Yeah. But I like Chicago to cover.
I can see it, especially with that bad Baltimore defense.
Yeah, and I like the over here because I think Chicago is going to keep fighting. Baltimore has a bad defense, but with Lamar back, they're going to try to be dynamic, score some points. So that's
and we've also seen this where Baltimore really dominates NFC teams that only see Lamar like once every 3-4 years. And him being back this week, combined with that Baltimore defense, totally love the over.
Yep.
Up next, the Atlanta Falcons are 7.5-point home favorites to the Miami Dolphins. 44.5 is the over-under. I'm surprised McDaniel's still the coach of the Dolphins, Jimmy. And I guess you're up, Atlanta. You better show us something this week because Miami just got their asses handed to them by the Browns.
Yeah. Atlanta may be like the most middling team in the league right now. Like,
it's fair.
They do weird shit either way to win or lose games. If you look at Miami's coaching staff, there's not really anybody there they can hand it over to. Now, that doesn't always matter, but maybe this is just a punishment.
Hey, like, look, man, you stood up for Tua, so now you got to live with it for the rest of this season.
So maybe there's a little bit of that going on. I don't think the Browns' defense is that much better than Atlanta's, and I think Atlanta's offense is 10 times better than the Browns' offense. So I think the Falcons win this game by like 3 scores.
Yeah, this looks to be a big game for Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, I don't know. What are you seeing the over/under at?
44.5. I would actually take the under there, even though I think Atlanta can get to 30.
Yeah.
That Miami offense is broken.
I was thinking the same thing. I don't know if Atlanta can get to 45 by themselves, and I don't know what Miami's offense can do. So,
yeah, I think that's fair. Our next game sees the New York Jets traveling to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. Cincinnati's 6-point home favorites. 44.5 is the over/under. This Jets team is probably the worst team in the league by a healthy margin. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, because even I think the other bad teams are still competing and playing well, getting a few wins here and there. They have some pieces that look okay. The Jets look completely broken on every level. I feel so bad for poor Aaron Glenn. This is bad. It's bad for the Jets. They're about to get housed by Joe Flacco. I'm all over the Bengals here. I think I actually like the over as well, because I think Flacco's perfectly fine just flinging it downfield, running the old Burrow. I think Chase is down there somewhere offense. Like, I think the Bengals are going to beat up on the Jets this week.
My notes are pretty simple on this. It's just neither Fields nor Taylor is good, so it doesn't matter who plays. And if Cincy just throws the ball to Chase and Higgins at least 30 times, which is what they did last week, and I assume they're going to keep doing because Joe Flacco is going to be like, no, I'm just overruling whatever you say. We're going to do this. Like, I don't know. This game's like the last one. I would like the over, but I don't think the Jets can score.
Yeah,
They just look so inept on offense. I can't imagine them getting to 14, which is what I think they would need to do for this over to hit.
See, I feel the other way. I don't think Joe Flacco's got a whole lot of games left in him, like this one right here. And I think the Bengals might put a 50-burger up in this one.
Wow. Yeah, but I mean, definitely look at Chase for your parlays. Yep. The Flacco parlay is definitely out there because he's going to throw a ton. Same with Higgins. Just get your money on those guys because they're going to get the ball a ton.
Yep.
Up next, the Buffalo Bills are coming off of their bye. They are traveling to Carolina to take on the Panthers, who will be started by Andy Dalton, it looks like. The Bills are 7-point favorites. 46.5 is the over/under. Jimmy, the Bills have Kansas City on the horizon next week. Is there any chance they overlook Carolina and the Panthers keep this one close?
I don't think you can overlook them enough for this to stay close. Like, I like the Bills here myself. I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair. I don't think you're going to show a whole lot.
No.
I think their offense has been pretty basic so far, and I don't think that changes this week. But I think they win by like 10. I like the under actually in this game, but I think the Bills will handle this one pretty easily.
Yeah, I feel like this is a James Cook game, and I would like him probably to hit his. Oh, he's probably going to hit 100 yards and get a touchdown in this game.
Yeah.
Up next, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 3.5-point road favorites in New Orleans. 46.5 is the over/under. Jimmy, Tampa ran into what is just probably a better team in Detroit all around. I think if you switch the quarterbacks, that game looks pretty similar. It looks to me like Tampa needs some help on defense. I think they're good, but to make a deep playoff run, they're going to need to be better. This is the type of game where if they could go out and win this by 10-plus points, I would think differently maybe about what that defense is capable of, because we know what the offense can do.
Yeah, I mean, Detroit is a great offense, especially at home in prime time. That's what Detroit always looks like. That's why both teams wanted that game for the home field advantage look in the NFC. I think that game goes very differently if it's in Tampa, personally. But kudos to Detroit, man. They played a hell of a game. I had a pretty good weekend until the Monday night games. I was wrong all across the board on those ones. But yeah, I think Tampa. This is an absolute get right game for Tampa. I think they'll have victory formation again this week. Baker will bounce back. That was a rough week, but I mean, I'm not, I feel like every other team gets like credit for having players out, but Tampa doesn't. So I mean, they were without a lot of weapons, but I think they'll bounce back here and handle this game easily.
Yeah, I do like Tampa to cover this, and I do like the over. And I totally agree. The computers don't like Baker. I think that's what it is. I think the computers don't like him, and he's a statistical anomaly in terms of how they're evaluating quarterbacks, because none of these algorithms are taking into account grit, effect on teammates, all of these things that we know a quarterback with a certain attitude and play style can really deliver for a team. And he may be at the bottom of that list of franchise quarterbacks, but that's what franchise quarterbacks do. And it really bums me out that they let him out of the building, because he's everything Cleveland wants in a quarterback. He's kind of the underdog. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He's got some humor to him. Just the whole 9 yards. And they just let him walk. They didn't even let him walk. They, forced him out.
Yeah, forced him out of the building.
It's very frustrating. The next game sees the number 1 seed in the AFC, Indianapolis Colts, taking on the Tennessee Titans. They're 14.5-point favorites. 48 is the over-under. This seems like a lot of points, but Indy is just mauling bad teams, and that's exactly what Tennessee is. I think they put another hurting on them. Even at 47.5, I like the over.
Yeah, I agree. They're bullying bad teams. They're going to keep doing that. Just, for everybody that wants to believe Daniel Jones and the Colts are going on some kind of run, I do want to remind you that the combined records of the teams they have beaten are 15-27, and 10 of those wins came from the Broncos and Chargers. so they snuck by the Broncos. They had played a pretty good game against the Chargers, but those are really they've only played 3 good teams. They lost to the Rams, and they stole a win against the Broncos, and they did play pretty well against the Chargers. Tyler Warren
beat up on the Chargers.
Yeah, Tyler Warren has been excellent. He's one of the next future tight end stars in the league. But, the Colts can pretty much, maybe they lose one to Jacksonville or Houston. They've got the Bills and the Chiefs coming up pretty soon, so those will be 2 losses. And I think they'll get handled in those games. I think they're going to be absolutely outclassed in those 2 games, and I cannot wait for those 2 games so people will shut the fuck up about the Indianapolis Colts. But
yeah, you'll see what Vegas thinks about it when those lines come out, and if Kansas City's, that's going to be those are just screaming 4 to 6 point lines.
Yeah, but I have no problem. I know 14.5 is a lot, but they should cover it. But once again, if you're building your parlays, stay away from the Colts money line, because it's a ridiculous number. It's going to really kill your odds in your parlays. So
right
just
now
let
it's
the Colts,
minus 1450.
Yeah, just leave the Colts alone. I mean, if you want to, the odds on the points aren't so bad, but on the money line parlays,
I think if you're parlaying, you can put that to 7.5. Actually, I would be comfortable going to 9.5, because they're going to win this by double digits.
Yeah, for sure.
Up next, the Dallas Cowboys are traveling to Denver to take on the Broncos. Denver, 3.5-point home favorites. 51 is the over-under. I was really surprised by that minus 3.5. I was expecting that line to be closer. What do you think's going on there?
Dallas's defense is really bad, and 2 quarters of play in the last 120 minutes have convinced people that the Broncos might have a decent offense.
Oh, I disagree. I like Dallas in the under.
Oh, no. I'm just telling you what I think.
No. I know you're telling me what you're telling me what everybody else thinks. I think those people are wrong. I like Dallas.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, kudos to the Broncos. That was one heck of a 4th quarter performance, but I don't think you're going to be able to shut down Dallas's offense.
Yeah, they showed. CeeDee Lamb came back last week, and it was just oh, hey, we got another weapon. We didn't even need this guy, and now we're even better.
Yeah, Dak is playing well. You've got CeeDee back. Yeah, I like the Cowboys here and the over.
Up next, it's I don't know if this has ever happened for a quarterback before, but it's the second revenge game of the year for Aaron Rodgers as the Pittsburgh Steelers welcome the Green Bay Packers. 45.5 is the over-under. The Green Bay being 3-point favorites on the road. Anybody who's listened to us talk about Pittsburgh when they're home dogs, Mike Tomlin has an insane record. So I'm betting that. I'm going with Pittsburgh. I don't think they're better than Green Bay, but this just seems to be the type of game that Mike Tomlin always wins because the Steelers are infuriating.
Yeah, this is a humongous game for the Green Bay Packers. In the grand scheme of things, for the Steelers, for how bad the AFC is, I don't think this game really means a lot. I think for the Packers, this means a ton. There are only a handful of coaches that people would say are better than that guy on the sideline for the Packers. Mike Tomlin's one of them. And this is a chance for Jordan Love to put the nail in the coffin of Aaron Rodgers. I don't think he can do it. He might get him in the casket, but it's going to be Undertaker style. Rodgers is going to somehow bust out and get the win here.
They're going to try and slam the lid shut, and you're just going to see those two hands come up with the purple gloves.
It's not going to happen, and I do. But I think this game means way more for Green Bay. But Tomlin is so good in these situations, and I think Aaron Rodgers has looked okay. I think he's looked better than a lot of people thought he would. Maybe not as good as he wants to be, but I think he's looked okay, and I think the Steelers win this game.
Our final game of the week sees the Kansas City Chiefs as 12.5-point favorites over the Washington Commanders. Yeah. 48 is the over-under. I think I saw that Jaden Daniels is out for this game, and it's going to be Marcus. Did you? Okay. So we can confirm that. I think Kansas City's just, they're going for it. They want to show their back. That offense looks unstoppable with Rice and Worthy back, and now all of a sudden Hollywood Brown's your third receiver instead of your main option. That just makes that team so much better. And really, he's your fourth option because you still have Kelsey there. They look like they're back all the way. I hope you got some extra money on him 4 weeks ago because that was as good as it got.
Yep. Yeah, Chiefs to cover. I like the over because the Chiefs are just going to keep scoring points, and then maybe Mariota can put a couple drives together. But yeah, I think the Chiefs are back. Mahomes watched the replay of that Sunday night game and saw the PFF had him ranked as the 13th best quarterback in the NFL.
They had him ranked behind Geno Smith in that game. And we've talked about it before. PFF's ratings can sometimes be infuriatingly bad.
Yes. And I'm just it's incredible how the most talented athletes in the world can find things to just nab out of thin air and put on their shoulder. This was a legitimate thing. We know Mahomes wants everybody to know how good he is. He wants to remind everybody how good he is. Andy Reid is still an exceptional play designer and play caller. They've got the pieces that they need to have. The Chiefs are, and that's for me, with Baltimore and Houston playing as poor as they're playing.
Yep.
We know the Bills can't beat Kansas City in the playoffs.
Nope.
So, I would feel very safe making your bets for Kansas City to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl right now.
Well, they've done it the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So it's probably a good bet. And they did it, 2 years? Jesus, this would be 5 Super Bowls in 6 years?
Yeah.
It's just sick.
Yeah.
Well, that's where we're at, Jimmy. Week 8, almost the halfway point of the season.
Yeah.
The Browns will have their bye coming up, so Andrew Berry will finally be asked questions about trades he made at the time. It'll be 6.5 months ago. Not when he made those trades. He traded the team's opening day starter and a starting cornerback, but he can't be bothered to answer questions with the media. He's got spreadsheets to worry about. But
Yes, sir.
I think it's going to be ugly this week, and we'll see what the fan reaction and what the media reaction is. If they win, though, it's going to be everybody's going to be partying and talking playoffs.
Yeah, it would be a crazy win. I just don't. I just can't. I just have a hard time seeing a window where even if Drake May plays poorly, that the Browns offense can score enough points on the Patriots defense either.
Yeah, that's it right there.
If this was a low-scoring affair, that the Patriots came out on top on. That would also not surprise me. I just don't see a path for it. And I don't think, I don't have that big of a problem with it. Like, the Patriots have a great coach. They've got a very, very good young quarterback. They're turning the roster around, and they're playing well. So I think this loss is going to be blown way out of proportion of what it actually is. And I think, the bye week's going to be, it's not going to be a lot of fun for people like Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry.
It usually isn't.
No.
We'll see what all of these teams have for us, and hopefully we can finish off some of these parlays and get some big wins in the books. Jimmy, thanks for joining me tonight, man, talking some football.
No place I'd rather be, brother.
And I want to thank all of you for listening. For Jimmy Champ, I'm Evan Belfiore. Thank you for listening to No Broken Legs.